with Samuel Kang from Singapore. I wanted to interview Sam because he's made the final of our satellite event. And it's possible that a lot of New Zealanders won't know a lot about Sam. So Sam, we'll start with some details. How old are you?
I'm 27 years old.
27 years old. How long have you been on the PSA tour?
About a month.
A month,
Yeah.
Okay. So you're a bit of a late starter there, George.
Yeah, because
Now, your background is you went to college in the States, is that right?
yeah, so I spent 4 years at Princeton University studying economics. So now I'm back in Singapore working for the Singapore government.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is this, is playing PSA a bit of fun for you, or are you seriously giving it a crack, or is it a way of getting sort of sharp for Asian games? What's your goal?
Just trying to gain more exposure, traveling around the region to play more different players because in Singapore we have a small group of players. So getting on the PSA is one way to gain more exposure in preparation definitely for more of the Asian events.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think you'll travel further afield later on if the ranking goes up, or to be decided?
Hopefully it goes up.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right. So you've had some good results anyway, haven't you?
It's been some tough matches on the glass. We don't have a glass court back in Singapore, so it's really cool to play here. But it's tough getting used to that, so still trying to get used to the court, but definitely some good matches. I'm looking forward to tonight as well.
All right. Now, so back in the day, you would have had a junior career. Did you play for Singapore in juniors and that kind of
Yeah,
thing?
so I started pretty late. I started when I was 13 years old, so I didn't really play a lot of like under 13s, under 15s. Started representing Singapore at U17, U19 levels.
Right.
Played a couple of junior tournaments around like Canadian junior, US junior, and Australian junior.
Okay.
So that's about it for my junior career. It wasn't long because of how late I started.
And did you always have the goal of going to the States or for education, or how did that come about?
So I was doing my national service in the Singapore Police Force when someone actually reached out to me and asked me to consider going to the States. So I had a couple of friends who were attending college there and they spoke to me about it. So it was the first time I actually considered it. And I went to visit a couple of schools in the US and I really liked the environment. So the squash level there is really high as well. So I decided to try to study there.
Cool. And so let's just change track a little bit. What's your schedule for the next few months? You've obviously got our next event next week. What else have you got planned?
After that, it's back home, some time off, short trip with my family, and then I start work again in January. So once I start work, it's not too easy to join the guys for training. So I'm just trying to manage it and see how much time I have to play these tournaments.
Sure.
I know there's a couple of satellites next year here.
Yes.
Hopefully with my work schedule it works out and I'll be able to come down, but at the moment it doesn't look likely. So
Sure.
I'll try to go to closer events like in Malaysia or even Australia.
Understood.
And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, no, cool. Now I've noticed you've got a bit of a retro racket there. Well, we could say that.
Yeah.
What's your weapon of choice at the moment?
So I'm using my sponsor is Prince. So I'm using the Pro Rebel. It's a good racket I've been using for a long time, but I think it's out of production now. And hopefully they keep producing it.
Hopefully there's a few in stock for you. And the strings, have you got white strings in there? Are they factory strings or what is that?
I think they're tennis strings actually, because I used to burst my strings like every week.
Okay.
And it's just too costly to get technical fiber strings, even
No,
though they're really nice.
Yeah.
So someone suggested why don't you get a thicker string, and tennis strings are much thicker. So
yeah, no, they are, absolutely.
So
you've gone heavy gauge and you got used to it, you like it.
Yeah.
All right, and they don't break on you, fair enough. No, cool.
Yeah.
Fitness-wise, you look pretty fit, dude. You move around the court, you're pretty efficient.
Yeah.
What do you put that down to? Do you do a lot of fitness work, or have you had well coached on movement? What's the background to that?
I had a good coach when I was just starting out squash. Who really emphasized a lot about movement, and we did a lot of ghosting, so that really built up my foundation. Now I don't get on court as much because of work, so I try to do more things in the gym, trying to keep fit. So I guess that helps as well, make up for a bit of the rustiness in terms of the strokes and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
And look, just finally, what's happening in Singapore squash? And is the sport doing well there, or what's the story with over there?
So we've been doing well in the past few years. It's starting to pick up again. It was really, really big in the 80s and 90s before I started playing, and then sort of died down a little bit. So now it's picking up, and I think this year in particular, the association has done a really good job of organizing a lot of satellite events. So I think we had 6 in total,
right?
Which is 6 more than what we had last year.
Great.
So it's a good start, and I think next year they're planning to build on that. So I think the sport is growing, and more people are joining the PSA, like Benjamin, who's here as well. He just joined, and a couple of other guys just joined the tour. So I think the satellites are a good way to get more people on the circuit, start traveling around, building up your ranking, and then hopefully we can invite more players as well. So hopefully some of the guys here will come down and play in the satellite events next year.
Cool. Now, I did say finally, I'm going to chuck something else in. For us, the Commonwealth Games is huge, and obviously we had a great Com Games. I can put that plug in. The impression I get talking to athletes from Asia is that the Asian Games is huge.
Yeah.
What's it like in Singapore? Is it big in Singapore?
Yeah, so the Asian Games are the second biggest thing to the Olympics. So we had that this year. The Singapore team went and played in Jakarta, Indonesia.
Yep.
And we did pretty well because our seeding was 7 and we managed to come in and join 5th position. So that was a huge achievement for us.
Cool.
Yeah, so Asian Games is definitely the biggest one. Singapore has a pretty strict criteria about qualification for these major events. That's why we didn't actually make the cut for the Commonwealth Games.
Right.
Because you have to be in the top 6 of your category. So meaning we had to be top 6 in the Commonwealth, which is incredibly tough. Yeah. Whereas in top 6 in Asia is still manageable.
Okay.
Yeah, so we managed to qualify for that one, but not the Commonwealth. But I heard the Commonwealth Games were pretty amazing. So hopefully in 4 years' time, who knows? Yeah, maybe
that'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool goal.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, cheers, man.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, John.
And good luck tonight.
Thank you.